Hello, welcome back to the Odds Now YouTube channel for your latest daily rundown ahead of the action at the 2026 PDC World Championship with me, Matt Hill. And last starting day of the year this, because there's no action on New Year's Eve. So the last 16 will wrap up and we'll have our quarterfinal lineup at the end of play tonight, which is very exciting. Shaping up to be a fantastic end to what has been a really, really entertaining, unpredictable tournament at times. Lots of upsets. But yeah, we're left with a lot of class at the back end, as you would expect. So really enjoyed that Luke Littler-Rob Cross match last night. I mean, Cross a dart away from 3-3. Definitely had the momentum at that point. Littler's head was in danger of falling off. So, you know, is that the closest we see to Luke Littler getting beat at this World Championship? Possibly. I don't know. I don't know if he should be making enemies with the crowd, to be honest. I personally think when they just get down and play darts, he's the best player by a distance. So I don't think he needs to be adding in variables like crowds and what have you. Yes, he might enjoy it and feel like he improves for a bit of it, but if I was him, I'd just keep my head down, to be honest. I mean, you're not going to get cheered to the rafters every game. It is what it is. You don't want to make enemies with that crowd. Just ask Gerwen Price. But anyway, steady day again yesterday. Nothing spectacular. I mean, Kev Doets was a real highlight. Obviously, both bets winning on that match. And he was brilliant, wasn't he? At the back end of that game in particular, the last two sets, breathtaking stuff. Looking forward to seeing him play Luke Humphries in the final game tonight again, hoping he can repeat that level. But we will come on to that. Let's dive into these 6 games then, because I'm late with the video today. So not all that long to wait for this first one, which is Luke Woodhouse versus Krzysztof Ratajski. And I think looking at the match betting, aside from Anderson van Gerwen, tightest game of the day here, or predicted to be. And I would agree with that. Money has come for Ratajski, who I think that if you look at sort of, if you're a data-driven kind of person, I would expect them to make Ratajski sort of favourite. But I think anyone who follows darts and is more kind of emotional-led with the process would probably lean towards Woodhouse here, because he's just had such a good incremental improvement over the last 18 to 24 months, Luke Woodhouse. And that has included like big performances on big TV stages. And he just seems to be sort of taking a constant step forward. And I think maybe there's a danger of him being underestimated here. He's getting up towards 5-4, which I nearly make a bet, to be honest. Like Ratajski, let's not forget, he was down and out against Plaisir. Plaisir missed match starts to win that 4-1. So in one respect, he's lucky to be here, Krzysztof, but you can't argue with how solid he's playing, and very, very reliable operator. Doesn't get involved in mind games or anything, just plays his own game. Like, has good results even prior to this World Championship. He beat Jan van Veen at the Play Championship finals last month. So it's not a surprise to see Ratajski here and playing well, but I just wonder if the money now is a little bit too much. I mean, getting up to 5-4 for Woodhouse, that would tempt me on the exchange. But I think the bet here is overs 180s, because the market's implying that we're going to get depth. I agree with that. So why is it not implying that we're going to get more 180s? Well, there's finally some money coming for this, but it's taken a while. The overs lines are being trimmed now. 4-5, which I think is about right, but you can get odds against here. So that's a hell of a margin. So with these LiveScore, Virgin, BetMGM, Canby Sportsbooks, I mean, yeah, they don't always lay you much. But Corin Ladbrokes even money as well. Like, I think that's a good bet. So, yeah, I want to be with the over 10.5 180s. Like Woodhouse in his last game against Gilding averaged 102, 104, 102 in the last 3 sets and really raced towards the line. Loads of 140s in that particular game from Woodhouse. And he is quite a big 180 hitter anyway. Maybe hasn't shown it fully yet at this tournament, but could easily do so today. And I think Krzysztof is just steady away, isn't he? He played 7 sets in the last round. And after the first set, he had a 180 in every single set. So, you know, he'll chip in with a few as well. And I think Woodhouse probably wins the line. I think he probably sets a decent total. And I think we'll go very, very close, if not comfortably over this, over 10.5. So I think it's a bet at odds against over 10.5 180s. Game 2 then is Johnny Clayton versus Andreas Harrysson. I'm going to call this a no bet. But if I was back, I was close to backing Clayton minus 2.5 sets at 6-5. That's my honest take on it, which is with, Hills and others, 6-5. Andreas Harrysson has been fantastic this tournament. Obviously had to dodge match start in round 1 against Ross Smith, but then closed it out really, really well. 3-0 against Matsumu Sakai, who didn't repeat his heroics of round 1. And then 4-2 over Ricardo Pietrezco in a game that always felt quite trappy, that either of them could win it, because it was an opportunity for both. And Pietrezco, when he's good, he's good. When he's bad, he can be pretty bad. So a fairly kind route for Harrysson today, I think. I don't want to take anything away from him, but it could have had tougher runs as a non-seed to the last 16. Like I say, the Ross Smith game, he maybe a bit fortunate to come through with all those match starts, but he's played really well. He deserves his chance. I thought it was nice and interesting that he said that Johnny Clayton is somebody that when he watches darts at home, he supports. So that probably gives you an indication of the difference in sort of experience level at this kind of event. Not that Harrysson seems the type to be rattled, but I do think Johnny Clayton is bang on it here. Like, he's going under the radar to a degree with some of the sexier profiles flying high, but he played Neil Zonneveld, who served up a ton plus average at him for 7 sets, and he dealt with it and won 4-3 and sort of sprinted to the line in the end. And, like, don't forget as well, if he wins this game, he's all but in the Premier League, because Aspinall's crashed out, Bunting's crashed out. He's already sort of going to be world number 4 if he wins this. So there's very little way the PDC can leave him out the Premier League if he wins this game and makes the quarterfinals. So there's added incentive there. And I just think that watching that James Hurrell game last night, I backed Hurrell on the overs average, and he scored well, but the doubles went to pot. And, like, maybe that was just a timely reminder that when players do enjoy a run like this, it can only go on for so long. And this last 16 stage now, this is proper business end stuff. The money's high, the pressure's high, and having the extra experience in this kind of game is really paramount. So I do think that Clayton's class will prevail. I think the 6-5 on the 4-1 or 4-0 win is somewhat attractive. It's going to be a no bet for me, but if you want to play it, that's probably the way I would play it. Final game of the afternoon then. I'm probably not going to be very popular for my take on this, but I think this could end up being a bit of a damp squib. I actually think that Josh Rock may power pass Justin Hood here. And Justin Hood has been fantastic in this tournament. But again, similar comments apply to Andreas Harrysson, to James Hurrell. When does it end? Because I don't think that Justin Hood, who's been better than his data suggests without being exceptional on the Pro Tour this season, has he suddenly found like World Championship winning form that he's going to sustain for 7 matches? Probably not. There was a bit of regression against Ryan Meikle. That said, he still won it with an element of comfort. However, I think that Meikle will be disappointed with how that game panned out. I don't think it was a 4-1 game. Hood maybe benefited from some poor legs from his opponent at the wrong time. The 180 slowed down a little bit. I think there was 5 in total from Justin Hood across 5 sets. So is that going to be enough to live with Josh Rock? Well, Josh Rock against Callum Ridge yesterday had 9 180s in 5 sets, and that was despite a slow start where he lost the first set, reeled off the next 4. And I think there's a danger that Josh Rock's just been overlooked a tad in this tournament at the minute. Like, all the talk is about Littler, about Van Veen, about Humphries, Anderson, Van Gerwen. Not an awful lot about Josh Rock, because he had 2 opening games, I suppose, in Gemma Hayter and Joe Comito, where the expectation was that he'd win them 3-0. So anything else was a failure, or anything else, like winning the 3-0, it wasn't noteworthy. And, you know, he actually dropped a set against Hayter. But it was a ton plus average against Comito. It was similar again yesterday against Ritz, despite a slow start. The 180s are really looking to be firing. What I like most about Josh Rock is he's very eyes on the prize, a lot of professionalism. Interviews are quite short and sweet at the moment. Very focused, just wants to get himself there. I think he realises the importance of this. Again, similar to what I said about Johnny Clayton, a win here. I mean, I think he's already in personally, but a win here absolutely solidifies Josh Rock in the Premier League for the first time, which has got to be a great incentive for him as well, financially, in terms of exposure, in terms of pedigree. So there's a lot to like here. Justin Hood is on the drift. I think people may be starting to feel the same way as me here with maybe Rock will just be one bridge too far for Justin Hood. The way I'm going to play it is, I think on the Bet365 Bet Builder, you can combine Rock minus, let me get this right, minus 1.5 sets and most 180s, which is 23-20 with Bet365. So he's got to win 4-0, 4-1 or 4-2, and he's got to win the 180 line. I think odds against on that occurring is very, very fair. So that's a straight 2-point win bet for me, 11-10. I wouldn't put anyone off a very small dabble on the 4-0 as well. I don't think it'll finish 4-0, but it would not surprise me. I think there's more than a 20% chance that it finishes 4-0. If Rock goes 2-0 up, I think he probably wins 4-0. That's what I would say. I hope Justin Hood can, obviously repeat the level that he did against Danny Noppert and give us an absolute barnstormer. But my inkling is telling me that Josh Rock will just be a bit too classy for him, and that this brilliant run will end here. On to the evening session then. This has got potential, hasn't it, this evening session? Proper potential. Charlie Manby versus Jan van Veen is a no bet for me. Money coming from Manby. He was out as big as sort of 13-2 last night. I think he's going to go off more like 5-1. And that's fair enough, because Van Veen has been like the third best player in this tournament, hasn't he, behind Littler and Humphries. And yeah, I really do have a lot of respect for Xi'an. And I knew when I put Charlie Manby up, obviously, anyone that watched the outright preview got very small stakes on Manby 500s outright and 150 for his quarter. 2 wins away from that 150 copping, obviously, but it's going to be against like Van Veen and Humphries, which I knew when I signed up for it. But yeah, I'm glad he's at least proved me right, Charlie, that he could have a run here. This is a big ask for him. Scoring wise, I think he can make a fist of it. The doubling performance yesterday would worry you hugely against Ricky Evans. And that is someone who backed him on the overs average line. His average line was 91.5. His first 9 was way over a ton for most of that game. But the doubling was abysmal. I think he missed 40 out of 53 attempts. It should be said that was a little bit out of the blue. He doubled at 50% against Adam Savada. Pretty much 9 out of 19. So I didn't see that drop off coming. I think everyone's had them, those days where when you start missing doubles, it becomes a mental thing, and maybe just showing his age and inexperience a little bit there, Manby. I do think there's a world where this game gets tight, but you need Charlie Manby to bring his A+ game. And he does have it. He could do it. And the good thing with young players is they bring their A+ game to the big occasion more often than old, long in the tooth players who struggle to kind of pull it out on demand. I think that sometimes the excitement, the adrenaline can actually kick a young player on. We've seen it with Littler. We've seen it with Van Veen. Maybe we'll see something similar with Manby. The problem Charlie Manby has here is that Sean Van Veen is just one of the best operators in world darts. And if you're not on it, he will punish you. He's got the best finishing statistics this year. He's got one of the best 180s per leg ratios this year. He doesn't really have any weak spots, Van Veen. And you're relying on him having a little bit of an off night and Manby having the night of his life. But I do, like, obviously, I haven't put Charlie Manby up without good reason in the quarter betting and the outright betting. I do think he's got that sort of stardust. And I think he could make a game of it. But it's a no bet for me at the prices. I think Van Veen will win. I'll be rooting for Manby to an extent. I like Jan as well. But yeah, should be a cracking game. This game, how is this a last 16 game? Michael Van Gerwen versus Gary Anderson. Market can't split them. Money's come for Gary. Van Gerwen was fav. They might go off each of 2. They should go off each 2. This is 2 warriors, possibly past their best, probably past their best, but both playing somewhere near their best. And both been a joy to watch in this tournament thus far. I mean, MVG obviously had to survive that scare against Tatsunami. Since then, really good against Willie O'Connor, really good against Arno Merck. 9 180s in 5 sets for MVG there. Gary Anderson has been rolling back the years. I thought he'd have a tough old time against Jermaine Watamina. It looked like he was going to do it easily at one point, but then he spurned their match darts, got dragged into a 6th set, got dragged into overtime. Watamina was fantastic. Probably the unluckiest loser of a match this tournament, aside from Danny Noppert. So yeah, like can't fault Gary or Michael, really, both playing fantastic. I guess the question is, will they be able to live up to the billing here? I'd say yes. I'd say yes. I think the standard may dip, it might peak and trough, but I think they're both playing too well not to turn up, and they're both too long in the tooth not to make this close. So the way I like to play it actually is, as well as there is another angle that I'm going to talk about, but I'll have a point on over 6.5 sets here. This one to go all the way 5-2 with LiveScore and Virgin. I think that there's more than that kind of chance that this goes all the way, pure and simple. So I'm going to chance a point on that. And then I'm going to have a couple of points on MVG's 180 line. I'm going to go quite aggressive here. Over 8.5 180s for MVG. Like I say, hit 9 in 5 sets against Arno Merck. I'm feeling like he gets at least 6 sets here. So it just needs a replication, really, of that kind of level. And he'll cover it. I wouldn't put anyone off a little sprinkle on the over 9.5 as well. But yeah, I think that both players will fire. Anderson is a fav in the 180 lines, I believe. Yeah, and that's rightly so, because he plundered in 14 against Jermaine with the help of overtime legs, obviously. So it's not that I'm saying that Van Gerwen's going to blow Anderson off the board. I think they'll be exchanging heavy scoring. But yeah, Anderson, Van Gerwen, really like what I've seen. I think he's grown into the tournament. Really good against Willie O'Connor as well. The last sort of 6 or 7 sets he's played, his scoring has been excellent. And if we're expecting 6 or 7 sets here, I think he can cover that over 8.5. So I'll have a couple of points there at 2-1 on over 8.5 180s. Final game of the evening could be a cracker. Luke Humphries against Kevin Doets. Doets done us a good turn yesterday, didn't he, against Nathan Aspinall? What an epic that was. And I actually tweeted about it after that. But the last 2 sets from Kevin Doets, possibly the best couple of sets I've seen, given the situation. 3-2 down. Aspinall's just hit a 170 to go 3-2 up. And he's gone 7 darts into a perfect leg in leg one of set 6. He's gone 112 checkout to break, 164 to win the set, like 180s galore in the final set. He's took double 96 on 19s. I mean, it was just ridiculous, unplayable. And I've always felt like Doets, I had that in the locker. I've said a few times, I think he's a potential top 20 player when he adds a bit of consistency to his game. So it's really nice to see him sort of vindicate that and play so well. Goes without saying, very stiff task here tonight. However, I think the quick turnaround will do him a world of good. Having put in one of the performances of his career and then to get straight out and play again tomorrow, his confidence must be brimming. My main concern with Kevin Doets is sometimes that he has a slow start, but I'm thinking that the quick turnaround may help negate that. He might be able to hit the ground running a little bit more. And like Luke Humphries, he's not cruising through this tournament, is he? He dropped a set to Ted Everts. Paul Lim, yes, that was a cruise. I'll give him that. And then Gabriel Clemens threw all sorts at him, and he had the answers, to be fair. But dodged a lot of darts to go 3-3. Similar story to Littler last night. And who knows what would have happened then, because Clemens was flying. So he's not impenetrable, Humphries. But you do have to give him a hell of a lot of respect. He's the second best player in the world for my money. So I'm not for 1 second saying that this is like upset alert. You got to smash into Doets at 13-2. But I think taking Doets on the handicaps, you're getting a player that is playing exceptionally well, high on confidence, and he's playing a Humphries that might, although he's winning games, might just give a little bit up in terms of the actual score. So I'm going to back Doets on the, keep it simple, Doets plus 2.5 sets, i.e. to win 2 sets, 6-4. That is available in a lot of places. Bet365 is one of them, I believe. Yeah, so 6-4, Bet365, Betway, etc. on Doets to get 2 sets. That's the way I'll be playing that last game. Okay, then, so just to round off the bets here, going to back over 10.5 180s in the Woodhouse Ratajski game at just a slither of odds against, 2-point win. Going to have 2 points on Josh Rock, minus 1.5 sets and to win the 180 lines against Justin Hood at 11-10. Going to put 2 points on Michael van Gerwen over 8.5 180s against Gary Anderson, and a further point on that going over 6.5 sets at the 6-5 and 5-2 respectively. And then 2 points on Kevin Doets plus 2.5 sets against Luke Humphries. So to get 2 sets on the board, that is 6-4. Well, let me know what you're backing in today's final last 16 games. I'll be back to recap everything we've seen so far and preview the 4 New Year's Day quarterfinals. But whatever you're doing, have a fantastic new year. If you're enjoying the videos, do give them a thumb up. And if you haven't already, please do hit subscribe. I'll be back again very soon. Thanks for watching.